As you might imagine, right, we had the giant Thanksgiving parade event and all that jazz. And now that all of that's kind of come to a full wrap, uh, well, we got state of power, we've got everything else kind of just coming down the pipe. Of course, if you guys did take advantage of it when you did have a chance to and basically got in on your feasts, then you more than likely got a fair bit of loot, right? Now, Christmas is coming around the corner, and so every time that Christmas comes around, you can kind of save some speeds during this time. And I think towards the end of Christmas, I believe they kind of do like a Halloween-esque type event again. And that's just going off of memory. But the main thing being is that State of Power, if you haven't already, you probably want to start doing your building upgrades and such. And again, the big thing with Chief House is always make sure you pop double time. And then as soon as you pop double time, make sure you to go over into your tab and make sure you pop this ability. And then run your storehouse up, or whatever, building upgrade that you're doing at the time. Like in this case, I'm going to do the embassy. And then we'll just go ahead and do the upgrade. And of course, you want to try and get as many of the helps as you can possible. So you want to get up to 51. You don't want to try and rush it if you don't have to. And then pretty much I recommend just getting up to where you actually get the reward and then stop there, because most people will just dump all of what they've got into it. And this is both good and bad. Good in the sense that you're going to be able to rank. Bad in the sense that you've just wasted all your speed ups. And by waste, I mean you're not going to be really much of anything should you ever decide that you want to be ready for the Christmas event or what have you, So it's there's always decisions and always time to make room for what you want to upgrade. Now, I did have a player ask me about this earlier, and he was like, okay, how do I get past Tree of Life 9 and 10 and so on? Well, the trick to that is you got to upgrade your actual buildings here. So when you go up to the building, it'll tell you that you can either go to the marketplace or use a general component redemption. If you go to the marketplace, you then buy however many you need for the upgrade and go ahead and voila, do the upgrade. And then as you upgrade and you progress further and further along, you'll eventually get that much needed score that you would need to upgrade the Tree of Life. So it's not terribly complicated by any means, but a lot of the time people do get kind of confused, and I guess it's mainly because it's not really straightforward, but that is kind of what you're ultimately aiming to do here, is to basically upgrade the buildings. Now, in my case, I've been saving for quite a while, so we're just going to go ahead and we'll upgrade this art gallery up quite a ways, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Don't know if I'll have enough to full max, but we'll be close. And we can get up to level 5 at least. Just like so. And of course, when you do this, you're also increasing the detail stat for that building. So there's also that, but then once you do, just make sure you're going around and actually doing your prosperity runs. So you just want to click on the the player icon, basically, where you got the little red dot, and make sure you're sending helps with their Tree of Life. So that way you two and a lot of other players can kind of get all the much needed essence that they need to be able to basically continue onward. And then from that point forward, I mean, really, the rest is just a matter of upgrading certain buildings. Now, in that case, it's Troop Attack is probably a little bit more advantageous. You get this out of Alliance Showdown. If you're wondering, where do you get Tundra Truck? Again, this is Alliance Showdown. There are certain event-specific buildings that are out and around, or even pay-to-win buildings that are also out and around. So there's lots of different choices as far as whether you want to add stacks of the same building, for example. That's not going to really help you in any meaningful way, so don't really do that. I know a lot of people that'll do that thinking it's helping them, and it's not, so don't. You just want to upgrade the individual building. You don't need to have multiple copies of, say, the wrong building. Then anyways, so enough about the island. But other than that, I did have another player ask me regarding the question of where I get gear. Okay, you can get gear in the arena. So if you go out and you fight individual players, you'll get gear in here. This is kind of helpful if you're just starting out, because again, I think a lot of people start out not really knowing where you can get gear, but as you can tell, this is where you're going to get some gear. Okay, the other place that you can get gear is in the Explorer's Cabin. And if you go through and actually do these levels, and progress through it. You'll get gear that way. I believe even alternatively, you can go in here and certain events will run. So like, for example, right now it's Flame and Fang, so we're going to get crystals for anything that we actually hit, which ultimately means you're going to get better loot. But once in a while, you'll get an event in here where you'll actually have an opportunity to get some gear like this. So you always want to be on the lookout for these, because those are ultimately where you're going to get other gear pieces. So, I mean, really between doing intel missions and going around and doing the loot that way, that's really about all the other places that you can get gear in the game. I would say about the only other bit of advice for you guys out there is then again, a lot of people, I think, are like head over heels over doing Fire Crystal T11s. I'm not a big fan of it. I really do think the mantra of like doing your furnace upgrades and doing those up to 8 makes more sense than actually jumping straight into T11s and dumping all your Fire Crystals into T11s. Because I did try it, and it's, yeah, you can get up to like the first couple of trees, but once you get to about here, this is where it becomes extremely difficult, because you have to juggle between your Fire Crystal tech and your actual research. And in my opinion, since my research is more advantageous for me, I'd rather focus in on that. In any case, that's really about my 2 cents for the day. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.